All right. Well, I got the floor sort of clean. I got to sweep though, and I still got to clean that up. Giant rat trap. Okay, so let's have a look at where we're at. Hey, where'd that big piece of black soundproofing stuff go? Okay, looks pretty good out here for the day. Nice to see some of that insulation get cleaned up. Slow but sure. Well, I didn't get to record today. I did get some stuff cleaned out of there, but I got some stuff off the floor. The squirrels think they got a freaking nut stash. Look at the nut stash I got. That's a lot of nuts. I like my nuts. The nuts are good. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. I got a new trap there to clean up. Roll trap. A trap there to clean up. I redo all the traps. Got a trap there. That trap. Hey, where's my microphone stands? Where'd they go? What's going on? What's going on? Clean up the floor there. A little bit of chaos going on in here too. Something going on in there. Oh, 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 oh! Hey, hey, hey! What's going on? Oh, looks like my drum room. One staple, two staples. You gotta understand this drum kit, this beautiful Mapex drum kit. It's an Armory limited edition Anaconda Burst. Oh, I got my pirate hat wrong. You won't even believe I'm a pirate if it's not on there right. Okay, now you can believe I'm a pirate. I got a triangle. The hell with your cowbell. It's all about the triangle, man. If you can't play the triangle, you are not a drummer. All right. So anyway, since this drum kit has come down here about a month ago, I found a use for. Again, this is what you call poor man's soundproofing, but just this, and that, and of course, this is the cover for my drum kit because I don't like the sun on it directly. So there's my new lamp too. I'll just kind of hang. Well, I got a nail there I could use and a nail there. While I'm drumming, I'm just going to hang that up just to cut down on the reverberation. Now, I can't do anything about the ceiling at the moment, nor do I really want to put anything on that ceiling. Uh, you never know, that drywall could end up on top of this, right? I hope not. That'd suck. That'd suck so bad. But yes, I did clean that up a bit more. I'm gonna start to attack it. I know, but it is like when you sweep it like that. Think about how black and moldy that was about when I first came in, right? So I am taking care of the problem. And I removed that symbol so the sunlight could hit it, and that seems to be killing most of the mold, right? So, and then of course I found the source of the leak, so I stopped that. And the footprint, however, I'm gonna leave that because it's funny. It's just funny, but the amount of you could still like this has got to be this room like I took out the linoleum and the plywood really echoes, like it's very echo. This room is the most echoey room that I've probably ever been in. It's like walking through a freaking bus station or something. It's like I couldn't believe this tiny little room how much reverberation I was getting. Like I've been in other rooms with no like this, but just the sound slap, the reverberation is so fast because it's such a small room. It's definitely going to toil with my mics. As you can see, I got my mic set up. I got my SM57 on this side, and it's going to capture the snare. I'm not worried about the snare at all. My goal is to really capture the double bass as much as possible, but that one drum mic catches the whole kit. And then I got under my sock here's an SM58. So I got the SM57, SM58. I can only record two mics at a time. Oh, my cymbal's so dusty. Somebody's got to clean there. Yeah, I'm not going to even talk about that. But I got this big blanket here. There might be another big blanket that I saw. I'm going to wash it too and throw it on maybe there or there. And, you know, that's what I'll use for now. This does help. It doesn't stop it, but it helps. It takes the most savage parts of it away. So this is how my drum room is starting. But I also had to do something today. This is why I'm not recording right yet. This will be the first recording of the drums on my song. I guess I can give you guys. Yeah, you got the wide angle. Crystal Eyes. This will be my first recording with drums down here. The first time a drum kit has ever been in this house. let alone as old as this house is. Parts of this house are up probably over 200 years old, according to my dad. Uh, and the rest of it's probably 50 to 80 years old. But the thing is that what I want to do, okay, is get all set up. I'm going to start recording. But I just dropped the drum kit here, guys. I didn't, I threw it in position, but I didn't really set it up where I can play comfortably. So it's pretty much where I normally set it. And I guess in a nutshell, you could say it's comfortable to play, right? No problem with the double bass. The bass drum, yes, it is off the ground a bit more. The settings are the same as, I try to get it as close as to what I had up home. Where's up home, you ask? Well, I don't know. Might be too much sunlight. You probably can't see nothing out of that window. But it's about 200 feet there. So I got two homes. I got the studio here and then the home. But I got it set up so I wanted to start recording at around 12 o'clock. But, I thought, well, there's no point in recording, doing all that hard work, and not be happy with, okay, well, maybe I should have took the time and put up my, because I got another sheet, not quite that big, but enough that I could do there and there. So it's just two staples. It's not anything that's going to hold anything to the wall, like mold-wise or anything like that. I'm not worried about that. So it's not trapping anything in. It's just helping with the echo of it. So it looks a little funky, but it should be functional. It should be very, very functional. The room is pretty aired out. The whole house is pretty aired out, so it's safe to play in here and stuff like that. I'm not worried about any of that. I know people are going to comment on that or whatever. But that's going to be dealt with as soon as I get the RPR 86. And if you're wondering what happens is the shower, when you take a shower, if you don't put the curtain tight to the wall, the water leaks down the tub and then under the floor and into there. And that's what happened. That's where my nephew's dresser was. And that's why it had the dresser was damp, is because the linoleum was there. The water kept, they probably weren't aware that the water kept going there. And of course, if you don't air it out, now this has been aired out for about a month and a half, and it's made a big difference. Sorry, I just, I'm not coughing because of the room. I'm coughing because, anyway, but it is ready to go. So the drum kit is ready to go. Now it's just a matter of getting the mics where I want them, and I got a plug there, I got a plug there. I think there's another plug. I think this room has like 3 or 4 plugs in it, to be honest with you. There might even be a plug. Yeah, there's a plug right there. So I got 3 plugs in this room, so power-wise, no problem. The BR1200 will have to be set in that corner because just so I can reach it. What is the BR1200, you ask? My recording console. That's what it is. So I got 2 tracks left for the drum kit and then 1 track left for the bass. So what I've got going on here, this will go in that room. So right now, like, this is the guitar room, so to speak. It's just when I get the drums, like, there's going to be a drum riser and everything in there. The idea is to get to buy an isolation booth. Like, they're just ridiculous, right? So these 2 tracks, vocals. These 2 tracks, guitar. First, guitar A. These 2 tracks are the 8-string guitar B. And then what I'm going to do here is drums. And the last one I have for bass. But I can do something else with the bass. I'm going to probably leave this track by itself. And this track here is 2 tracks. But so this is 9 and 10. This is 11 and 12. If you are using the internal bass on this, it's a stereo track. But if you're using it as a standalone track, it's just 1, right? So you need 2. So the problem here is you got 2 tracks, but this is your bounce track. So the only thing about this one is that you can only use this for your whole mix bouncing to that, so that you can master it and all that. So it's not really, it's not a 12 track. It's really, the max you get is basically a 9-track, I guess you could say. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so it's a 9-track technically. It's not enough. I need like 24 tracks or something like that. But, however, there is a little trick up the sleeve called virtual tracks. And I am going to start recording virtual tracks. I have never done a virtual track on this thing in a mix. So I played around with it, and I have a book to tell me how to do it. The BR1200 book, that machine, you could read that book a million times and it's still going to be like, ancient hieroglyphics. But anyway, underneath the mighty H string is the book I need. And that will basically use that for the bass. I'll put the virtual tracks. The virtual tracks work the same as your regular tracks, but the problem you get is because you have basically 4 things, or I could do up to 192 extra tracks in stereo. So divide 192 in half, and I can get that amongst all these. So I can put multiple layers of tracks on these 2, but the problem you have is you have to get your levels perfect when you save it, because you can't go back and edit the volumes between each track easily, right? So you have to make sure everything is going to be edited in such a manner that when you recorded it, that it's at the volume it needs to be. So when you start playing around with your tracks in the mix, that you don't have 2 tracks that are too loud, or multiple tracks that are at different volumes that you can't adjust. So you got to do all those adjustments before you commit to saving it, so that when you do save it, that you have something to move around, right? So the bass might go on, say, the H string. It'll be like my double track guitar, so to speak. The way I'm going to use the bass. So I'll explain it more when I do it, and we'll see how it comes out on the song. I think the H string already sounds pretty massive. It's just as long as I can keep the bass and the H string in the right frequency zones. You can't do everything you could do on any, like, if you go to a multi-million-dollar studio, anything a multi-million-dollar studio can do, this can pretty much do. However, it does it to a much lesser quality degree, right? But you can get a pretty good sound out of it. It's just it's digital, analog digital is what the best way the best way you could say it. And I like the analog angle of it because it's so much easier than sitting there trying to look at a menu for hours and staring at a screen. This, you let your ears tell you whether you're in or out. So yes, you're going to cut the same frequencies, but you're not going to be, it's not going to be there in a graph for you. It's just, here's the frequency, cut this much, see what you can get away with. So you could mix each individual track, including the virtual tracks, but the problem you got to watch out for is that once you mix them, you better mix them good, because if you don't, you're kind of committed on the virtual tracks. So the virtual tracks can destroy your, if you don't know what you're doing, you can destroy your whole recording with it and have to start over again. And we don't want to do that. But for now, I got the drum thing up. I swept it off, stuff like that. It was in the shed, so there was a lot of dust and stuff on it. So when I get the vacuum, I'll vacuum it down and whatever. This I washed, so it's pretty good. But yeah, so the kit is set up to play. That is the cool part. And I think I got everything where I want. Nothing's touching. Hopefully not too much will rattle. Throwing that under the floor tom was a really, really good idea. Now, I do have one leg flipped on the floor tom just to kill some of the sustain. That's a trick that you can do. A lot of people do that. I don't have a pillow in that. When I was up home, stepped on that. I don't have a pillow in it, right? I just haven't gotten around to putting a pillow in it. I thought I would have new skins for this thing by now, and when I do, I'm going to get a port and just make life easy for myself. And I'm going to buy the proper, sound dampening stuff for that bass drum, because I am a metal drummer. I'm not going to be a jazz drummer. Life's too short. I'm 52. I'm not going to learn a whole system and then learn another whole system. I'm just going to stick with the metal stuff. And the odds of me playing in a jazz band is like, pretty low. So, I'm not saying I'll never do it, but my focus is to become a reasonable metal drummer, mainly for recording purposes. But I might not be the only person playing this drum kit. Hence why I got to set it up a bit more. Like if I'm like, okay, recording a tune and I got a drummer that's better than me and I'm all set up, ready to go. I say, hey, you want to just, practice on this thing till you get comfortable with it. And then just let's see what kind of takes we can get. That might happen too. That definitely might happen too. So anyway, I think I went long enough on this video. I got some other stuff to do today. Unfortunately, I will not be able to record today and do a good job. So I want to do a few more things. I got the mics in position. I got to figure out how I'm going to set up the BR1200 in here. That's why I'm going to have to get one of those little rolling consoles so I can just roll the thing around. Because like when I'm recording with the BR1200, one of the biggest problems is I don't have a way. Like if you have another person to operate the machine for you, they could be over there, right? And you can close the door and you could just do like a countdown thing. You'd have your headphones in here and whatever, they could keep the machine out there so the mics don't pick up the fans off the machine and stuff. For now, I'm not worried about it. Like, I mean, it's is what it is. But the machine's going to have to be here somewhere while I'm in here so I can shut the machine, hit the record and what have you. So it's ongoing. So I've already recorded that amp for the first time in here, that amp for the first time in here. That was lots of fun. Again, my song is it's going to be pretty good. I got the vocals all done. I can't wait to hear what the thing's going to sound like mastered. Like the final production. It's going to be interesting to see what I come up with. Now, again, I'm not a professional sound engineer. Obviously, this is not a professional studio. This is kind of half my second home and half my studio. But the goal of this house was to more turn it into a studio. And one of the parts is to get as much soundproofing as possible. But one of the things I want to do is build a drum riser. I've seen a few people use the tennis ball thing, their drum risers, to dampen sound. Because, acoustic drum kits are great, but they are loud. Even with the door closed and the paneling on the wall. I mean, my aunt and uncle is it's all, this whole hill is all family. That's my aunt and uncle right there. And I'm sure even with these thin single paned windows, when I start hammering on this thing, they probably hear it pretty good. I don't play all the time. What I do is I mainly, spend a few minutes on it, maybe 10, 15 minutes on it at a time. This idea that you have to practice hours and hours and hours and hours is not really, and this goes for almost every instrument. You do have to put the time in. That is true. But it's the type of time you put in that I think that makes the bigger difference. I think it's the idea that you practice stuff like, different beats, your fundamentals, all that, which I still have the practice pad up home for the sticking part, which is, once you get the sticking part, once you're smooth with that, you just practice, and drill yourself to see what kind of beats you can come up with. Eventually I will be doing videos of play-alongs with the drum kit, see how it comes out. But again, I can't do you the high polished stuff like other people. It'd be just for the people that would actually, okay, let's see how this guy's progress is doing. So I'm a little over a year in on this thing. I do okay. The big one is that, like anything, when you're starting out this and you share your videos, like, oh, you suck so bad. You suck. Well, yeah, I'm new. You know what I mean? There's every instrument's the same. It seems like you have to play for a certain while, and then all of a sudden one day it's like you can play, and stuff like that. But I'm like really trying to learn really complicated stuff too. And yes, you got to learn fundamentals and stuff like that, and get all that stuff down before you get go with the really challenging stuff. But if you're a multi instrumentalist like myself, it's like I'm almost like once you've gotten past a first instrument, maybe something above a recorder or a ukulele. No offense to those, but those are about the two easiest. The three easiest instruments are ukulele, recorder, and piano. No particular order. Those instruments you can master. You can learn the basics very quickly and master them fairly well if you put a little bit of effort in. And if you put a lot of effort into, you can hit virtuoso levels in a very short amount of time with those instruments. These type of instruments, drums is a lifelong thing like any other instrument, but the really good drummers, like they're always trying to expand their horizons and stuff like that. Like I listen to the drummers that I listen to are just like beyond phenomenal. Like the Elvedi drummers. One of my favorite drummers is Eleni Noda. I think she's just absolutely fantastic. When you really listen to all the intricate things she does with cymbals and stuff like that, she is a very, very good player and very fluid to the point where you say, well, that's not that complicated of a beat. Listen again. It's like, oh, but there's all that other stuff in there that's just so seamless. Like, it's like you got a regular beat, and also there's these like weird timings on the freaking hi hat, and it's like, yeah, it's impressive, very impressive. So there's a lot of drummers like that. Nizo from Frozen Crown, I love his drumming. It's just his drumming is awesome. It's a little bit more straightforward, but if you're into the power metal stuff. And I know there's all the big names and stuff like that, the big drummers and stuff like that. Rush has now got a new drummer. I haven't heard her playing at all, but apparently she's got to be pretty good if she's playing for Rush. So Neil Peart, maybe you've heard of Neil Peart, maybe you haven't. I don't know if you're just starting out in drums. There was a guy named Neil Peart, and apparently I think he was a good drummer. I don't know. Let the hate come in. How dare you? Neil Peart is like the equivalent to Jaco Pastorius for bass or Eddie Van Halen for guitar. They're in that. They're all in that league where you just can't critique these guys at all. You know what I mean? Not that I would be critiquing these guys because not at their levels, but like it's one of those things that it's just like they're a bit of a holy grail fan base on it. Like they're very good. They earn their claims to fame for sure. But those guys put in time. They put in a lot of time. Will you ever see a double bass kit in here? Well, I don't know if one would actually fit in here. I think so. I'd love to have a double bass kit, but if this is the only drum kit, this is the only drum kit I've ever owned. If this is the only drum kit I ever owned, I need not want. I love this drum kit. Although if I were to do it all over again, I think I would have went with a 20-inch bass drum and the shallow toms. Just because I just don't need all the volume. And yeah, the 2218 is El Canyon. Like I know the guys that like the big 24-inch and the 26-inch bass drums. Yeah, you get all that low end, but you don't get the attack of the 1822. And the 20 by 15, 16, or 18, it doesn't quite have the cannon fire of the 22. The 22 is like the ultimate rock metal bass drum, it seems. It just seems like it's just the right size for that. The downside, in my opinion, is it's just too tall to be able to get the toms exactly where you want them. So you have to play with your toms kind of higher than you would like. The other thing is my 14.5-inch snare. Is it 14 and a half or is it 15? Whatever it is, I take that down to about a 12. I can go more in the depth, but I take it down. Oh, but you won't get big, powerful metal drums. There's lots of metal drummers that use small 12-inch because they can get things in closer, which means you can get a lot smoother with the sticking. You know what I mean? Closer, it's less movement, more efficient movements. That's why I would have done it. But that said, if this is what I got to live with, need not want. Although I do plan on getting more cymbals. I just got the cheap SBR Sabians for now. I love Sabian. I'm going to stick with Sabians. I know there's a lot of different out there, but I like to support Canadian too, right? So, as much Canadian stuff as I can. So, like my bass amp's going to be a trainer, that kind of thing. But yeah, there's going to be a lot coming in off of this. This is the beginning stages of it. There's going to be a lot of sound dampening that I'm going to have to do with this drum kit for sure, especially in here. Again, when it was sitting on a carpet, it seemed like it didn't really matter that if I had the pillow in there or not. But now it does seem to matter. So, like I want it to sound like a bass drum, not a tom. But that said, when I can play around with the BR1200 enough with it, it seems like I can get away with, EQing it. But the things I can't get away with is the reverberation. Like that, I just can't. It's like an echoing effect off the walls that you just can't dampen enough, right? So there's tricks I can do to dampen, like throwing cloths on the skins. You'd be surprised how well that works, or just lay a pillow up against the bass drum, kill some of the sustain. That works too. I did that in one of the recordings, and it seemed to work. So it's not about the volume so much for me. It's more for like I say, not annoying my neighbors or whatever, but to get to deaden the sounds a little bit more. That's why I was thinking of going with the Evans hydraulics to get as much of a deadened sound for metal as possible. But I don't know, like there's a lot of really good skins out there for metal too. I know I'm going to end up with an EMAD something. I think I like the EMAD 3 and the EMAD 7 the most. From what I've seen, but everybody's drum kit sounds a little bit different, but it seems like those are the two that seem to kind of entice me a little bit more, But I would say as long as there's an EMAD on the main the batter head of the bass drum, I think that will give me all the dampening I need. Might not even need a pillow in there. I know there's a lot of people that think they have to throw a pillow in there, but there are drummers out there, metal drummers, that do run like full open whatever, but they just they work out the dampening somewhere else. So I've seen some pretty interesting ways of dampening the drums and all that, and I'll experiment with that later. But when you get like the standard skins like that, you don't have a port, right? I don't know why that's not just a standard option on all drum kits. Like, it's not so much for the mic, it's so you can put a pillow or something in, because they know you're going to do it, right? Oh, we'll just take it apart and stuff like that. Yeah, but why not? Like make the full skin as an option, because like having that whole porthole there, yeah, you can put one in it, but just do it at the factory. If you have to charge an extra $10 per drum kit, just do that. You know what I mean? Like, because people, you're saving them the time and money. Just it's a convenience thing, just a critique there. Anyway, I got to get some other stuff done, but I'm glad I got that far today anyway. So that's hung up. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, there we go.